It's over
Yeah,
13
like,
hours.
okay. So, Israel, you're saying your YouTube, what motivated your YouTube channel?
Yeah, I mean, like, number one, the first thing was obviously money. But yeah, not necessarily money. Like, money is good, right? If it blows, it's a good like source of side income, right? But I think for the most part is I see people asking me the same or similar questions every time.
Yeah.
Oh, what should I do about my resume? Stuff like that. And I was just like, well, I could as well just start recording videos, right? And putting the same content I tell people inside the DM and just putting the video. Number one is obviously going to like reach more people. Number two is if it blows, which I'm hoping it will. I've had good progress so far, but I mean, if it blows, you get good money. So I think that's like very good, anyways.
Yeah, like there's no downside. It's a win-win.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while we are just doing the publicity, you can go ahead to share on your channels
Also,
and
while we are doing that, let me quickly switch to my better microphone. Let me give good quality.
Yeah, I'm using a microphone here too.
Yeah, yeah, I think I saw that your sound was looking chill. I'm like, oh, let me be a good quality.
Yeah, I'm using the microphone. Just not showing.
Let's see, what do I do? But I mean, I've always wanted to like start a YouTube channel, right? But I guess the problem was
So where can we see people that are joining?
okay. So if you go to
you
let
might have
me
to go to the YouTube video, I think.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
I think they
Can you
should this
paste the link in the chat?
okay, I'll do that.
Yeah. Thanks.
The link to the YouTube
Yeah, in the chat. In the chat
I
of this
sent
person.
to your one. Okay, I'll do that now. I'll do that now. So I think we have about 7 people watching. We should have more as time goes on. Okay, okay. Supposed to be okay. There's a private chat here. Okay, can you see the link now? Just like you may have to mute, if not it
Yeah,
will
yeah,
echo.
yeah.
Okay, okay.
One, two.
All right.
Hello,
So
one, two. Okay.
everyone, I can see 8 people in the comments. Sorry, 8 people watching already. Thanks for joining in. We're going to be. I think Mike and Israel already have fans in the chat. Someone is messaging saying they want to learn from you. Okay. So thanks for joining in. We're going to comment shortly. And while we wait for people to join in, and while we prepare to speak about big tech, I want you guys to put in the comment section the big tech company you want to land in the coming year or the year after. So just drop it in the comment section in the chat. Google, Amazon. I would like to see. I like to see the companies you guys want to land in. I'm not seeing any. So Amos, it is going to be on YouTube, so it's going to be it's already recorded. Yeah. So drop in the comment
And
section.
I think for a lot of people, they probably don't care about what tech company they land in, as long as
As
they
long
land
as
somewhere.
as long as it's somewhere and it is big. Someone is saying Postman. Don't you think this one is like quite unique actually? I was expecting to see like Google
And that's so
and
specific.
Meta. Yeah, very specific
Yeah, I
Postman.
mean, you are unique, so which means I did apply to I've applied to a lot of places.
Jane
Though. I
Street.
did
Someone
apply to
saying Jane
Postman,
Street.
anyways.
This person definitely likes money actually because and
Jane, Jane Street.
this
Jane
guys
Street. Jane Street.
these guys pay good money. Someone is saying Meta, Asana, like Israel. Yeah, yeah, I'll be
So
introduced.
for James Street, actually, they are very selective. So those kind of company, they check the kind of school you go to. Like if
Yeah, I
you
think it's
yeah,
true.
yeah, if you don't really go to a big school, it's hard to get their interviews.
So you might not stand a chance if you are coming to say about our university.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jane Street,
Yeah,
their interview is more of IQ level test kind of like at least some of the earlier stages. I'm not sure, but I mean, maybe they go more for Ivy League schools.
yeah.
And last I checked, OAU is not even technically the best school in
Mm.
Nigeria yet. So you people can argue from today to tomorrow, but okay.
You can only
Yeah,
try.
we can only
Yeah,
try.
yeah,
Okay. So I see people are joining in already. So what I'm going to go ahead to do now is I'm going to introduce AWS Cloud Club. So because I'm sure people really don't know about the club, and I think events like this are events that would like introduce the club to guys. So AWS Cloud Club is if you think of it something similar to student communities like um, MLSA and DDSC, Google Developer Students Club, but AWS is now more specific, and it is just solely teaching you everything you need to know about AWS and its technologies. So EC2, S3, everything, the myriad of services AWS has. So, but once in a while we have non-technical sessions like this where we bring in recruiters, we bring in guys who are already working in tech and stuff like that, and we just have a chill conversation. So this is the first of this non-technical session, um, and yeah, we hopefully we'll be doing more. Let's see how this one goes. I think Israel and I, Mike, are already like down to spilling hot takes. Okay, so let me introduce Israel. Let me introduce Israel first, and I'll go ahead to
Wait,
introduce Iran.
I know I didn't send my profile. Oh shoot.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So I needed to find everything or the things I could find regard on you. So I did some investigating. So Israel is a software engineer at Asana, Vancouver, Canada. He's experienced in JavaScript, TypeScript, React, Python, and is mostly focused on improving functionalities and performance of both front end and back end systems, and also collaborating closely with fellow engineers and stakeholders as it ensures seamless integration and alignment of the system. In addition to just building and the likes in his professional role, Israel is also passionate about mentoring in the field of web development. So Israel is a mentor in Springboard and also ADPs. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. So
Yeah.
he provides personal guidance to a diverse range of students and professionals, and offers customized learning plans, regular feedback, and real world insights. So he's also someone that likes to share his knowledge by speaking, and he's also a speaker at various tech events and career growth conferences, um, inspiring others in the profession. His dedication to software stems from a belief in the potential to positively impact vital sectors like finance, health, and education. Okay, this is like a little about Israel. If not that this couldn't contain the whole thing, you will probably see more. So, welcome on board, Israel. I really want to say thank you for joining us this evening. Um, and let me move on to iMike. Okay, so iMike, Michael Adetunji, popularly known as iMike,
it's
is a
Olatunji.
sorry. The
Olatunji,
Tunji
sorry.
is the computer. Yeah. Michael Olatunji is a computer engineering student and software engineer who is passionate about using technology to solve real world problems. He has a strong foundation in computer science and engineering principles, and programming languages such as JavaScript, Python, C++, and Java. He constantly seek opportunities to learn and apply his skills in new and innovative ways. So in addition to his academic pursuits, he has completed internships at leading technology companies like uh, JP Morgan, Cruise Automation, a self-driving car company, where he has gained valuable experience working on complex software projects. Michael is a team player who enjoys collaborating with others and sharing knowledge, obviously because he's here to share knowledge. He's also excited to continue learning and growing as a software engineer and eager to apply his skills and knowledge to tackle challenging problems, and make a positive impact in the world. Something that stands out about both of them, they both want to make positive impact in the world. How is that going so far, Israel and Hyman?
I mean, I think it's yeah, everybody wants to make a positive impact. Maybe not in the world. Some people it's just like Nigeria and stuff, but I think that it starts somewhere, right? It starts in like in school, right? Then if maybe Nigeria, then from there maybe the world, like maybe some part, maybe Africa, then some part of the world that you are, right? And I think, yeah, I think I look to be on track to making an impact in the world.
You're definitely
I'm
on
not,
track.
it depends on how you want to say it. Currently, the company that I work in, we work with like some very big firms, like a lot of big firms use our software. Like this is a live stream, so I'm not supposed to mention some of those companies, but like some big tech companies sort of like use our software, and I would say that's making an impact because this like the platforms that use our software at Asana uh, impact people around the world. So indirectly, I would say I'm impacting people around, making a positive impact in the world already. But I mean, like more can be done. So I would say I'm on track.
Yeah, yeah. You definitely are actually like little things like joining a stream like this just to share the knowledge you have, the knowledge you built over the
Mhm.
years. So I might do you have anything to say to that?
Yeah, like when it comes to impact, so I feel impact is basically like it starts from like people around you. So what you're doing right now is kind of an impact. So yeah, and like apart from your work as well, like the people you interact with and like what you add to them and the kind of value you add to them is also impact in my opinion. But like personally, in career goals, I think I don't know, but I want to think I'm on the right track as well to make bigger impact in the future.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I think you rounded it up properly because like little things like this that affect people around you
yeah.
tend to impact people in some way. So without doing too much aspire to Maguire, let's go right into why we are here. So um, iMike has interned at JP Morgan um, and also at Cruise Automation. Um, Israel has worked. He's currently working at Asana, and when I was thinking of people to bring on to this event, they were like the first two that jumped at me. Why? Because I've always been seeing Israel's YouTube videos, and yeah, they're really nice and awesome. And also, I've been seeing iMike's doings, and I feel like yeah, I feel like he's in the right place to just as an undergrad and give like any undergrad that wants to also yeah, just in the right position to do that. Okay, so how do you even if you want to land it if you want to land a role in a company, how do you even know there's an open role? So the question is how do you know something is open? Like, how do you know, okay, JP Morgan is hiring? Or how do you know Meta is hiring? Or how do you know Asana is hiring? Is there like a season where companies do look for employees? I might, would you like to start?
Yeah, yeah, I think I can take that first. So like for example, for internships, if you are looking for like summer internship, most internships are summer, although they're like fall internships too. But most summer internships, like for most big companies, they open in fall of the previous year. For example, if you are looking for summer internship of next year now, so you start applying by September or August of this year, then till like December. That's when they usually hire. So majority of them will be done hiring by maybe like November, December, like those that hire fast. Although some of them will still hire to like January, February. But after February, for summer internships, there's like nothing really left again. So basically, it's like to start applying early. So I always advise people to start applying as early as August. So start looking for like those company websites. Start looking at their website, and also there are some platform where you can set notification. LinkedIn is a very good example. Like if you follow the company, you can like maybe set notification when they post something. Just okay, check. And most of these company, when they start hiring, they usually post it on their LinkedIn that okay, we are hiring interns, we are hiring like, for new grad, we are hiring for this role. So that's one. There are also some like GitHub repos that post jobs. I think a very good example is there's one for internships, but it's mostly US based internships. So one for like I can't really remember the name of the repo right now, but like there are some repos. Like once you subscribe to those repos, anytime they update it, then you get email notification as well. Another thing is like having a good online presence or like LinkedIn profile, or it could be any online presence. So for my case, when I like got cruise interview, it was just like my online presence, and I actually got reached out to by recruiter. I didn't really like apply there. So it was a recruiter that reached out to me. Oh, we saw your profile and we think you are a good fit for this role. Then can you interview? Then the interview process went on and on and on. Yeah. So I think
Oh,
it's
this are really like advice you wouldn't see by just googling. So fine, the generic answer will probably to just check their websites, but when you probably get updates via GitHub. Some people uploading to GitHub
yeah.
and know. So Israel, do you have anything to add to that, or I might have said it all?
I think first thing is he has said a bulk of thing. The other thing that I would just like to say is you probably want to be proactive about it. For the most part, like I said initially, for those that just joined, a lot of people just want to work at any tech company, and that's very okay. Like at any company, and that's okay. But if you already sort of like have an idea of the company you want to work on or you want to work in, you can, like I Mike said, subscribe to follow them on LinkedIn or something. For most roles, they post it on LinkedIn, right? The other thing which I would just emphasize is you can turn on job notifications on LinkedIn, which is what I do. So even till now, although I'm not looking for a job, I still get notifications of jobs every day, right? So I, I don't. This is where I start saying, "Go and watch my YouTube video." But, anyways, but I
It's
mean,
fine.
for the good part, right? You just search for a job, right? Say you go to jobs on LinkedIn, search for a job, the job title you are looking for, right? The locations you are looking for the job for, right? So you can turn on alerts, and what that does is that it sends you get notifications every single day of new job posting, right? That way you don't always go and be like, oh, what job am I looking for and stuff like that. The other thing that I would just say so that we can move away from this point is that there was one thing that I used to do, which was a very nice trick, was that for every application that I have on my phone or every software that I'm using, I check their career sites, right? So, for example, sometimes you just don't think about applying to some companies, right? But say I use WhatsApp, I just do WhatsApp careers. Like if you just go to Google and do WhatsApp career page or something like that, the first thing it's going to bring for you is their career page. And most of all these companies, they have very good career pages that you can filter by roles, like by position and stuff. So I would say you can do that. Say you're using a software. I spend time on social media. So I was about to critique that instead of spending time on social media, say you're using TikTok, right? Just be like, oh, TikTok, they would have student roles. And then you just search for TikTok new grad roles or TikTok internship, and then you apply to those roles. And I should say at this point that TikTok hires a lot, although they are very, I would say, I don't know how much they hire Nigerians, But I know they have like a lot of open roles, so you might just want to check that out.
Nice, nice, nice. Like these are like really nice advice, and nothing much for me to add or to ask. But like, given that you see people, sometimes you see people's let's say testimony, or you see people sharing on social media about applying to about over 200 roles. And was that the case? Okay, so IMAX said a recruiter reached out to him for cruise, but was that the case for like any of you when while you were applying, or say see you had like
So
a list?
yeah, I think for me, like for my first like year when I was recruiting, that was 2021, recruiting for 2022 internships. So I kind of say I'm a bit lucky that year because I didn't really apply that much and I got two offers. So I applied to, I think I only applied to like probably less than 10 companies, maybe like five or six. Some ghosted me. So like I think I applied to like a couple of firm company, then I got ghosted by them, then I got reached out to by I think two or three. Then I also like we'll talk about interviews later. So I
Yeah,
think yeah, I think so that's basically it for me. That was the first year, but like this year, I feel maybe like things are more because I know about more companies and I know like more like about more stuff. So like some people always say it's a numbers game. Yeah, it's kind of it's partial. I will not really say it's like 100% numbers game. It's partially true. If you apply to a lot of like places, your chances of getting response like
it
is
is
higher.
higher.
Yeah, but at the same time, you should also have like it really depends on your resume and like stuff that are really there as well. But it's a numbers game as you say, and also so something I noticed that why some people have a high number of application and they don't get like response back. Some people they don't really read the like job descriptions. So like on some job description, you will see that they are only hiring you in the US. Then why are you applying? So it's point kind
Waste
of
your
points.
time
Yeah,
again.
some people don't read job description. They will tell you they are only hiring in this time zone. They are only hiring for someone that has a PhD. You see, some you won't put it on the job title into bracket PhD. Then as an undergrad, you're applying like different kind of places.
Expecting a
Then
very plus.
exactly, then they'll be like they are getting ghosted. It's just and in some cases, maybe so, like I said, like I mentioned earlier, companies like Jane Street, Citadel, all these hedge fund companies, some of them they just hired alone from specific schools. So some of them they only hired from like top 10 schools in the US. So you can't really blame them because that's their culture. And it is what it is. So that's
Actually,
another thing. Yeah. So
yeah,
it really depends on like I really like advise people to read job description before they apply. Yeah.
yeah. Nice, nice. So there are some roles that once they specified this is what they are looking for, there's nothing in your resume that may change the recruiter's mind to
Yeah.
hire a BSc person when a PhD person
Yeah,
is being
you
requested.
you see some roles too. They will specify there like maybe they're looking for machine learning or someone with experiences in research and machine learning. Then someone with JavaScript and React experience, you start applying to machine learning roles. There's no way like
For the
yeah,
most part, it's like
And
even the recruiter is probably not going to see your resume because some of these things go through ATS, right? Say
yeah,
they say they are hiring people from the US, and then on your resume, your location or somewhere your location is Nigeria. Like nobody's going to see it. It's just going to get automatically rejected. So
nice, nice, nice. Okay, okay. I think that that sums up most of my questions. And one other thing I want to ask is, at any point, did you cold email recruiters, or like did you stop recruiters at any point?
yeah, personally, I've never really done that before. I know some people do it and it works, but for me, I just go to their website, I do my due diligence, do my research, like, and apply to roles that I feel like match my resume. So if I feel like okay, this role fits my resume properly and is something I have experiences in, that's only what I apply to. I don't apply to roles that like, when I read the job description, I see that okay, they're only hiring in this country. Then like if they are not hiring international students, I'm not really interested because that means I'm not their target audience or
Yeah,
this kind of the kind of skills they are hiring for. If I don't have those kind of skills, personally, I also try to like at least I make sure I have up to 70% of the requirement, 70 to 80% of the requirement, so that I'm a strong fit. When you're a strong fit for someone, my chances of passing the interview is higher. So
Alright.
also like that's another thing I look at. Yeah, it's just like a lot of variables. Like I said earlier, just make sure you read and understand the job description very well. Yeah,
Mm,
it
right.
helps.
Okay.
I think for me, I've sent out cold emails before. Uh, I've done a lot of things in my life. Anyways, yeah, I mean, I also to sort of like I also applied for a lot of roles. Uh, and one thing that I would say in the terms of application right now, just to I try not to lie to people, is that things are a little bit tougher now compared to 2 years ago, right? So 2 years ago, while I was interviewing for roles, it was almost as if they were begging me with jobs, right? Like almost every week, somebody from Amazon was reaching out to me on LinkedIn.
Reaching
Like
out.
Amazon recruiters are so they just reach out like I'm like, don't you guys talk to yourself? Anyways. But like I guess it's because they hire for different roles, right? But then like 2 years ago, like 2021, a lot of roles were open, right? Companies were just coming out from COVID and they were overestimating the number of people they needed. So they were hiring a lot. But it's not the same currently. I would be very straight with you. There are less number of roles. We still had like a meeting at the company yesterday, and there are less number of roles. But generally, if you check even surveys that you check from like Meta or whatever, right, you see that you have less number of roles. What a lot of companies are even doing now is that they are not opening new roles for new grad. They are just giving their interns a returning offer, right? So
Oh,
a return offer. So when the interns get a return offer, new people don't get to join again, right? So it's a little bit hard. I would just be straight with you. It's a little bit hard getting some of all these
stop.
roles, right? It's tough out there, and also because there are like a lot of people that are applying for the same roles that you're applying for, and that's why for me, I say that, like I Mike said, number one is make sure that you're applying for the role that you're a good fit for, right? You don't obviously you get rejections, but you can reduce the number of rejections that you get by applying to roles you only qualify for. I should say at this point that when you see a job that says remote, people assume that remote means remote anywhere. There are different kinds of remote,
There's
right?
different
There's remote
sense.
Canada, there's remote location specific, right? There's remote Vancouver, right? It might not even be remote Canada, it's like remote Vancouver.
Yeah.
That you have to be in Vancouver and not any other place in Canada for you to be able to work remotely, right? So when you're applying for some of those roles, when you say remote, check, are they saying remote worldwide, right? Or remote anywhere? Or they are saying remote a particular location. If you're not in that location or you don't have a work visa in that location, then you can't apply for that
For the
role. Or you shouldn't apply for that role because you are going to get automatic rejection, right? So also make sure you're applying for, like Mike said, 70% is a good benchmark, really. If you meet like, but what I will say is make sure you meet the minimum requirements, right? So when you check job posting, you see minimum requirements, you see preferred requirements, right? Make sure you meet all the minimum requirements because minimum is like it's like you're applying to OAU and they're like, is finish. You have to have at least 200.
at
If you
all,
don't
at
have
all.
200, you can't even enter for any course at all. Do you get? So minimum meet the minimum requirement. If you don't meet the minimum requirement, move on to the next job, right? Else you will apply and you will not get. So that's probably why you are getting rejected because you don't meet the minimum requirement. And at this point, I would say that if you don't meet a minimum requirement and you still want to apply for roles like that, not that particular, but because it's probably too late, then you want to build up on that minimum requirement, which is what I did, right? I have been applying for roles since like when I was in part two or something. I got my first interview with Google in part two. I was so elated, like, hey, I was interviewing with Google. I know in my mind, I knew I was probably not going to pass it. But the fact that I got to interview with Google, man. So what I do was that I was going to the career pages of some of these companies, right? And then I'll check their requirements. I'll see, oh, do I know this? Can I apply for these roles? I wasn't even actively applying then, right? I was just like, oh, what do I need to be able to apply for this role? So I go to read those minimum requirements, and then I see, oh, they need you to know data structures and algorithm. I'm like, oh, let me go and learn data structures and algorithm. They need you to know this. Then I go and learn that. Oh, you guys are focusing on my head. Yeah. So I would say that read minimum requirements. If you don't meet them, develop yourself in them. So let's say, and I was reading a lot of job postings, right? When you read a lot of job postings, you will see similar things on all those job postings. If you are applying for software engineering roles, you probably see that, oh, you should know at least one programming language, you should know data structures and algorithm, you should know, and you probably see patterns in all those things, and you can go ahead and go and learn some of those things so that you can maybe next hiring season or for the next job you're applying for, you'll be able to confidently say that I know these things and I can apply for it because I meet the minimum requirement. So that's the last thing I would say on applications.
Yeah, I think you both have done justice to the whole applications thing. I'll take more questions when it's time for questions in the chat. So let's move on to resume. So I know Israel has talked a lot about resume on his YouTube. So
I
at
need to
this
talk
point,
about
it's
much
like,
YouTube
okay.
channel.
So there's this chicken and egg problem of, okay, you want to apply for a big tech role, but a big tech role requires you to have big tech on your resume. So if they if you need to have something, a big tech company on your resume, then how do you apply to big tech? So I know it, like it's probably not like a general thing, but what were like the comp for your first like big tech role? What were like the companies that you had on your resume?
I
Okay,
So
let's
make.
go
yeah,
with
okay.
line.
Let me go first. So actually, the first offer I got was even Cruise. It was not JP Morgan. Like, well, I did JP Morgan internship first, and Cruise was like a self-driving car company based in out of San Francisco, and like like it was just like it blows your mind that okay, I get to work on something like this, something like
Yeah,
as impressive as this,
cutting edge,
and
cutting edge,
yeah,
cutting
yeah, like but for me, what I had then was just like it's an internship, so in my view, like any reasonable company, apart from like hedge funds company, like any reasonable company, like Feng, be it Feng, any big tech company, excluding hedge funds like Jane Street and Citadel stuff. So they don't really like care for much experience for internship roles. What they really want to see is how like they want to see if you are really passionate about what you are doing. Like for example, and how do they know if you are really passionate about what you're doing? It's mostly as an intern, they want to see your undergraduate work, like some of these things, like are you even serious in your school? Like, are you do you like
the
your
one
course of
you
study?
have to do, are you doing it?
Yeah, what you're doing in school, are you doing it? Because that's basically why they want to hire you. Maybe because you are an engineering major, or you are a maths major, or you are a computer science major, whatever major it is. So like are you even serious in that? Then once they see that, okay, maybe you check the box for that, they go to like projects. They want to see that, okay, is this person like is the person building towards what they want to like maybe achieve in the future, or towards what they are looking for in the internships. For example, when I applied, I had like bunch of full stack projects on my resume there, like a project that it's quite big because it has inside the same project, it has searching, chatting, like different kind of features. Like, and I built the back end, front end, did the old DevOps in AWS, a lot of things like that I was just learning. And for me, when I was just doing it, I was just doing it for fun, like okay, because I enjoy it. And like when you put it on your resume, it looks good actually. Then you can build some interesting interesting projects as well. For example, if you're applying for like maybe you're applying for a bit low level like roles, or low level internship, maybe something like core OS internship. So what the recruiters want to see is like, do you have projects that are related to those kind of stuff? Do you have like projects related to like operating systems? Do you have projects related to maybe C++, like those kind of like something that relates to that stuff? Same with like I think Paul is into machine learning. Like you probably had that experience. So you're applying for your machine learning. They want to see, do you have like projects related to that? Not like projects unrelated. So it's for internships. I can say for internships, it mostly depends on your project and your schoolwork. Some people, I've even had people that most of their projects, because maybe they go to a very good school and they have like impressive like school project, they just put it on their resume. And maybe they have like maybe they help their lecturer teach one or two courses, they put it there.
Yeah.
Maybe they work with, yeah. If you also have startup experience, like just put it there. But if you're applying for internship, you wouldn't want to make like you are the senior engineer in the startup, because they'll be like, why are you applying for internship? You are a senior engineer. Like like it's because I see a lot of people make that mistake, because maybe they feel like they've done a lot of stuff for the startup. It doesn't matter. Your startup experience is not really relevant to big tech experience. If you've been in big tech before, like it's different. It's like way different. Yeah, it's different from startup, like very different. So it doesn't like really like matter. So you want to like make yourself look good on your resume, make yourself look good, but don't like over exaggerate yourself at the same time. Yeah.
I
That makes
think
sense.
I feel like talking about this because sorry, Paul. Like before I forget, this is a very that's a very important thing. So people send resumes to me to review, and just by looking at it, I know almost exactly why you're getting rejected. You're applying for an internship role or a new grad role,
Yeah.
and in your experience, I'm seeing senior back in it. What like
Yeah,
it
so
doesn't
why
add
did
up.
they tell me
Do you
this?
get like so? For example, and I would say this right because it's my story. A lot of people that are watching this, I probably know me, will think, oh, senior engineer or something. Bro, I'm entry level at Asana. Like I joined as a new grad. Like I know, like, and that's what you need to know, right? So because you are working in OAU or you are working in a startup, and then you are the only engineer there, which was the bulk of experience that I had. Like I was working in a startup, I was working as a contractor somewhere, and I was like one of like supposed senior engineers, bro. When you're applying for those roles, I don't put if you're and for most likely, even if you are supposedly a senior engineer, if you're applying for a job and you just finished school, I don't want to see
Yeah.
senior on your resume. Anything saying senior, I don't want to see it. Even intermediate, like just put front end developer, what you did. Don't be putting that's not going to impress anybody, right?
Yeah.
The only thing it's going to do for you is going to put you back because it's going to be like, oh, you're a
Like
senior
I
and
can
you're
I can
putting
even add to that. I can add to that. So even if you are lucky, you are extremely lucky, you got the interview. The questions they will ask you, trust me,
exactly.
you are going to hate yourself because you told them you are a senior. They are going to treat you as if you are a senior.
If you
So
apply for they will ask you
yeah,
system, more system design
yeah, it will
engineer.
ask you very hard
Right?
questions, very hard
Your
questions.
head will just be like, what am I doing here? Right.
Even
So
your
if you just
like
finish school, I would advise remove any shade of senior, anything that
Anything that
shows
can feel
seniority,
bad.
your resume, remove it.
like even before I worked for I've worked was like startup to even like for US startup that time before I like got internships. Like and I worked with a startup that I built their entire MVP product and it got them like is like seed funding, pre-seed funding of like in hundreds of thousands of dollars. And like I still can't really like say it's because it doesn't really add up, because I also try to understand that big tech experience is like it's like different from like
Very
the way you build a
different.
startup, like very different, like very different.
And I mean, like, also one thing I should say about this experience thingy is that I made a tweet about that sometime. Your learning period does not count as experience, right? If you started learning coding 2020, like 1997 when you were born, let's say that was when you started learning coding. Your experience is really about how much time of
So,
full-time work. You people live in the same place, Michael and Paul.
sorry.
Sorry,
Yeah.
but it's you live in a similar environment. But it's really
Yeah.
about how much uh how much experience you have, work experience, and in some sense, I sort of like you might maybe zoom in on me so that I don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
let me quickly do that.
yeah, so that you guys can reconcile your light issues. But it's really about like how much work experience you have. So I really got this when I was applying for Canadian PR. When you apply for Canadian PR, what they actually want to know is the number of hours you have worked in a paid full-time or part-time role, right? Paid full-time or part-time role. The number of hours, not that you put 5 years of experience. So you put in the hours, and then they will calculate the number of years of experience for you. So if you have not worked in a paid environment, nobody's really going to count it as work experience. People might count it, but that's really where your project comes in, anyways, right? But to sort of like answer the question about like whether you need to have big tech on your resume or something, you really don't need to. Obviously, you need to have one big tech for it to have. You don't need to have big tech. What I would say is that it's probably too late for some people if you are out of school now, but maybe join communities, right? On your online presence. I think I Mike said he got the cruise interview from online presence, right? Online presence, right? You posting on LinkedIn or stuff like that, right? It really goes a long way. Also work on projects and not just say you're a web developer, right? You don't want to just do a landing page. Everybody does a landing page, like everybody can do a landing page, right? Work on a more complex program, right? A more complex project, right? And add work on like three of those and add it on your resume. I think that goes a long way. Also, they're like uh one other thing that I should say at this point, there's one fellowship which I think helped me. I'm not sure, but I think really helped me. That was MLH. So MLH fellowship, if you apply for MLH fellowship, MLH is sort of like a good name-ish, right? So if you apply for MLH fellowship and you have it on your resume, it's like an internship. It's remote. You can work from anywhere, right? You can get the fellowship. It's like an internship you do for 3 months. So I think that's really a good thing that you can do for your resume. So yeah, let me just stop there.
Nice, nice. So you talked about MLH. Funny thing is, I just completed my
Nice,
MLH program last week.
nice,
I had the opportunity to work with Meta on one of their research projects.
nice, nice.
So I can actually say MLH MLH can be some sort of boost to your resume.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's move on to the let's move on to, I think, one of the most interesting and intense part of applying, which is interviews.
That's crazy.
So so there's one thing I want you guys to react to. I don't know if you guys saw this tweet.
Yeah, I saw it and I already reacted to it on Twitter. Anyways, I already responded to it on Twitter.
Oh yeah, yeah. I actually I reacted to that tweet. It was so funny.
Yeah.
It was so funny. I
Out,
was
out,
just laughing.
out true is what he's saying, or if it's not true, then like, what do you have to say?
So for me, what I would like to say is like, trust me, solving what it say? He said go to meet code, filter question by difficulty, 50 easy, 100 mediums. For me, it's what he said is bullshit. Honestly, like that's the simple definition of it. Because if you are solving 100 easy, you don't even know the topics. Maybe you are just solving questions on hash map, or maybe you are just solving questions on link list. And 100 mediums, you can't just do stuff randomly like that. You have to like really know what you're doing. Like you firstly want to like know the data structures, then solve problem on the data structures, like solve some kind of different kind of problems. So it's a whole lot. If you What I would say is that if you don't want to do many questions, so you can do something like this. One they call blind 75.
Band 75.
There's
Yeah,
one that is neat code. I don't know if you know neat code
yeah,
150.
It's
the
code,
next
yeah.
code 150.
Yeah, and neat code. So you don't want to do a lot of questions. Yeah, those one they will surely help you, but they will help you, but it doesn't. You can't ace any interview even with that.
Mm, I get,
Yeah.
I get. Okay, so back to, let me focus on just interviews. I think Israel, do you have something to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, I reacted to it. I would say if you do this, you probably fail the interviews that you get. So let me just say it. But I would just say this. So it's more like it's a. I don't even know how to explain it. Congrats, you can ace any. You can't ace any. Yes, you can't.
Oh,
I'm not congratulating you.
you
Can't,
can't.
right? Rather, the advice that I would tell you is similar to what Michael has said. Number one is, does it even make sense, right? You don't understand the fundamentals of data structures and algorithm, and you're just going to solve a problem.
Just
Like,
giving questions.
what are you doing? Like, who are you deceiving? Right? First, so know what data structures are, what algorithms are there, right? Understand the fundamentals of data structures now, right? Next thing I would say is that then go to he said blind 75, that's good. What I would say is that apart from that, you can also partner with people, or there are platforms. I'm not sure I can share my screen now, but there are like platforms that you can go to that can give you company tagged questions, right? Say you
Mm.
have an interview with, after you have, that's after you have done blind 75 and you have done maybe needs 150 to sort of like get into problem solving, right? Then when you have an interview coming up with a particular company, right? Then you want to do company tagged questions. So it's on Lead Code Premium, but you don't have to pay for it. They are like GitHub
Nice.
repo that give you that free, that thing, like those questions for free for you. So you find out questions that companies like say Google ask a lot, right? Or the recent questions they've asked. If you solve like the top 10, there's a high chance that if you do the same question, right? If you have a Google interview, you will get the same question, right? And I think Michael can sort of like testify to this for Asana, right? So, and
Yeah.
you also want to like research question. At least it happened to me when I interviewed for us.
Frequently questions.
You also want to like research for questions. You can go to Glassdoor, right? People post questions that they've gotten asked on Glassdoor or Lead Code Discourse, right? So go to those places. You just solving random 50 questions or random 100 million questions is not going to get you anywhere. And for example, I've interviewed with Google. Google likes to add questions. If you check company tag questions from Google, it's mostly hard questions, right? So if you don't solve any hard questions, you are entering the street. Also,
Yes.
Google likes to ask dynamic programming questions, right? And
Mm.
the number of dynamic programming questions on Lead Code are not a lot. And if you just solve random 50 and random 100, and congrats, you are not getting into any company. That's what I would say. So, yeah,
Congrats,
Yeah.
you're not receiving any interview.
Yeah,
It's
like I yeah, I said, like it's basically that. Like, for example, I've kind of have the opportunity to interview for like hedge fund companies as well. Like, trust me. See,
it's
like
not easy.
lead code questions are like this. Those companies, they're like this. They ask like very hard questions. Like, you won't even find them anyway. Like, they are so
Mm.
tough, and I don't even know what to put it like, because that's why I said, like, the thing you said earlier is just garbage. It's not the reality at all. It's not real. Like, even if you have like good, very good, very good, very good, acing any interview is it's a lot.
hard
It's
work.
even
Yeah.
yeah. There's luck factor too. You might just meet an interviewer that maybe that day they're just not happy. So there's nothing
And
you can
there's
there's
nothing
nothing
you
you can say that they will like. There's nothing you can
Michael is
say.
talking from
there's no
experience.
optimization you can optimize.
Yeah,
You're not
yeah,
impressive. Yeah. I think I can speak to this actually. Like there's an element of luck when doing these interviews. I
There's a
know
huge element of luck.
yeah.
I would say
yeah,
a
I was,
huge
I was I
element
was
of
interviewing with Bloomberg, and that
oh,
was just last 2 months. And I was preparing with someone who was a Ghanaian. We were preparing, grinding lit code, doing system design. Bloomberg asks intense system design questions. Can
yeah,
you imagine?
Yeah.
So we're preparing together and all. And I finished my interview and I was like, whoa, these guys were not happy. They were not happy people, because there was really nothing I was saying and they didn't seem to be interested. So in that kind of scenario where your interviewer is not having a conversation with you, you yourself, you just tend to lose that, you lose your balance some way. And the next day, he interviewed and he got almost all his questions were like Bloomberg tag questions. And his interviewer was very, very nice with him. And fortunately for him, he got an offer.
can you
So
imagine?
like there's some things where sometimes you can't control them, like it just happens. But like things that you can control, like strategically
Yeah.
solving questions,
Yeah.
Um,
So
even
I would love to chip in that. Like, so like so the conversation can now shift to maybe how do you increase your luck? So how you
Yeah.
increase your luck is like first is by solving as much as possible. Like I don't
Yeah.
know if there was a I think last month I
Yeah.
posted
Pause
like
that is bad.
I like my lead code profile. So
Oh, I can
I
send you
posted
back.
yeah. So I posted on my little profile that I think I've solved like 500 questions, stuff like that. I'll definitely like do more than that now, but like that's how you increase your luck. Like just solving different kind of patterns, like
Yeah.
doing a lot of them. They really help. And another thing is like apart from the luck factor, like improving the communication skills as well. So I think that's where some like some interviewers they are just like that. You can't really like blame them for who they are. And
Yeah.
another thing, like in some companies, I think people have to volunteer to do the interview, and maybe they force some people to do the interview. So maybe they are just not happy doing the interview, or they're just having a shitty day. So there's a lot factor, and like what I'm just like trying to improve is like how to like get more lucky and how to like boost the luck factor.
Yeah, just
yeah,
to say something about that, and that's why I would recommend you do commonly tagged questions, right?
Yeah.
Uh, I generally believe that if you get into an interview and they ask you a question and you've not seen a similar question before or exactly that question, there's a high chance you won't be able to solve that problem. Especially you might be able to even solve it, but you'll be able to find the optimal solution in the time. Like they ask you a hard question in an interview, and you have maybe 20 minutes to solve the question. If you've not seen it before, how do you want to like? You can almost not be able to solve it, right? So yeah, and I think for most of the interviews that I've passed, is because I've seen similar questions before, and I just got there. I'm like, oh, I know this, and I just went ahead and solved it. So
yeah. I think that says everything actually. Like, there's luck involved, but the luck is not the kind of luck that like everyone thinks luck is. The luck is, oh, you've done your own due diligence, you've done quite a lot of questions to increase your chances of seeing something you're familiar with. You've done a lot already. Then everything just plays out the way you wanted it to. So that's like the kind of luck we're talking about here. But yeah, I think we've done justice to that question actually. Let me see if there's one more I have on my question. My question. Okay, so there's the all platforms. All platforms do you guys use for like preparing? Do you guys do the lead code premium? Do you use Algo Expert, or you use like combination of everything you have?
Yeah, so for me, I mostly use lead code because that's basically the point of lead code. Lead code is more interview centered, and if you have Agro Expert too, you can use it. But Agro Expert is whatever is on Agro Expert, there is more on lead code. So I don't really like see the point of Agro Expert. So that's why I mostly use lead codes. I know some people that use Akarank. Yeah, so it's basically it's mostly lead code, Akarank. There are some other platforms you can use. So I know some people use there's another one to Geek for Geeks and all that,
Okay.
but I mostly use lead code. So for me, I mostly use lead code. And like there are a lot of questions. They follow like standard interview procedures and all that. So that's why like, personally I prefer to use lead code.
yeah, I mean, most of the questions you probably get will be from lead code. So I would say use the code. But this is how I would say it for somebody that is probably just starting and wants to like learn data structures and algorithm. I have this Notion document. I would try to this Notion page that sort of like as interview prep thingy. Let me just quickly find it. But while I'm trying to find that, I would say that the first resource that I would share is Progra, like
Let
Prog. I cannot
let
spell again.
me
P R
let me
O G R A miz.com/DSA. So what you want to do there is you want to first learn the fundamentals of data structures and algorithm. That's one place I would recommend you learn the fundamentals of data structure and algorithm. Like it explains it with the code and stuff, right? Then the next thing is lead code. So obviously that's where you find problems to solve. You go to discuss, right? They also have, uh, I think is in their explore now. Yeah, in their explore, right? So lead code has an explore section now where you can actually find uh more like topic tagged questions to solve,
like
right? So
crash
you
course.
click on it. Exactly. So like a crash course on some of these things, and then they add questions to them, right? So you learn a particular concept, say arrays and stuff, right? It's really nice stuff, right? And then you can just sort of like learn those things. Then the other one that I think that's like the fundamental ones. I would also say that there are like YouTube channels that you can watch for like just seeing them solve problems. I wouldn't, there's a, uh, what's the English word? There's a caveat to that, but I would say like just check out some of those. There's one called, I think there's Knit Code. There's also, uh, there are like two of those other guys, right? That I can just like,
There's another guy called Shiva. He's Indian. I don't know if you know
yeah. So
Shiva.
you can just check out some
Yeah,
of those YouTube
there's
channels,
Shiva.
anyways. Yeah.
Then like if you want to like really know like go deep and understand how all these things work like from implementation ground up, I would recommend like checking some professors explaining them on like professors that
Mm.
explain this
And
course.
there's an
Like
MIT course that
yeah,
is very good. So
so like those professors they will explain like the really mathematical part of it as well, which is really helpful, especially when you want to do like hard problems like maybe DP or recursion, because recursion can be very tricky, and once you like really grab it, you grab it. Yeah.
so I think what I'm getting now is like you just have to invest in the fundamentals. Like
Yeah.
in order for you to like you may feel like okay you're wasting time, but like you just need to invest that time in the fundamentals. Then you can like grow from there, or like you pick up the pace as you solve more problems. Okay, so I think those are like my questions. Those are like everything I have already with me. And while I've exhausted my questions, I want guys in the comment section or in the chat to drop questions that they really want Israel and I might to answer. So do you have specific questions you want them to answer? I'm going to drop in the comment section and I would read them out. Um, so let me see. No one has dropped yet. Well, no one has dropped. Let me see. Let me ask one more. How do you guys handle like anxiety? So I know as you take more interviews, you probably have more control over over like your um how you handle like interviewing and all. But like initially when you started interviewing, how do you handle the whole I'm interviewing with Google thing and just feel you have cold feet all of a sudden?
So for me, how I handle anxiety, I think you just get over it over time. Like when you first start interviewing, like I don't know, unless you are very good at public speaking before, I feel you definitely feel it. Even if you are good at like the anxiety, especially if you see a question you've not seen before, that's when the anxiety
And
really
throw your
kicks in.
balance.
Yeah, like you see some questions that they just like throw your balance, like what is this? So that can cause anxiety. So but I think the way to like undo is to be chill, like to stay calm, stay chill, like try and be calm as possible. Then try and ask your interviewer like to walk you through, maybe ask clarifying questions about, for example, if you see a problem you've not seen before, try to ask like clarifying questions about, okay, what is the function really for? What do you want me to do with this? Like ask constraints, like constraints. Like it also helps. There are some problems that the constraints can help you solve it more optimally. So like ask about the constraints, like ask about edge cases. They can also then from there can just kind of try and build up your solution. And another thing is that if you are like stuck and like really stuck, so it's good to ask the interviewer for int. But the disadvantage of that is like some companies they will take it as like it will take away some of your points in some company. But if you are stuck, there's no point because just ask for int.
Like
Yeah,
better than
yeah,
just
yeah, they're
looking
not doing
out to
anything. Yeah. So ask for int. It's better than being completely stuck. So
like
if you ask for int, then from there, and another thing is if you are like creating a solution and an interviewer is trying to correct something, try
mm,
to listen to it because they are most likely trying to help you. Try to listen to them. Don't just keep. You might have seen that question before. You might look at it, but what they are correcting, it might be like it's a variation of something or it's something they are looking for, and
Yeah.
it's the interviewer that is going to judge you. They are the one that will like tell the recruiter, the HR or whoever is in charge, the hiring team, if you pass the interview or not. So just try and listen to them as much as possible. Like if they advise you to do something, like try to do it their way. So that also helps, and it's mostly just and another thing is this might sound weird a bit, but when you are interviewing, don't don't assume that you are going to get the offer, like because that might break your heart. So
lower
yeah,
your expectation.
yeah, yeah. It has happened to me in the past. Like Quentin, that I was so confident that okay, I'm going to like I did well in this and I did well. So
Yes,
don't assume. Yeah, just kind of have this neutral mindset. So if you have a neutral mindset, your mind will also be at rest. That okay, if I get it, I get it. Then if I don't get it, I will do better next time. So
nice,
I think
nice.
yeah, so that kind of takes the anxiety away as well. But if you are so like I must get this thing, I must get this thing, the anxiety will like build up too as well. Yeah, I know everyone wants to get the role, but for anxiety, just to reduce the anxiety, don't assume that you are you are 100% going to get it because you don't know. They might be like maybe like plenty of other interview like people that are interviewing that are better or maybe like it could be anything, it could be any factor as well. So like there are a lot of factors involved. So I think maybe you should have something to say on that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I'll probably just not say anything about that again. So I think you said it all.
You know. Okay, so I'll be taking the question from the comment section from the chat now. Someone is asking after getting an internship, how can you scale up by proving yourself and hopefully become a junior developer? I'm not sure if I read that correctly. After getting an internship, how do you scale up by proving yourself and hopefully become a junior developer? If you understand the question, you can
Yeah,
try to answer it.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I think Israel should take this because he's already working full time. So
yeah. So I would say that for the most part, right? Just do your work and be exceptional as an intern. So you are interning at a company. So when I started as a full grad in Asana, I also had somebody that was an intern. He already got a return offer. And there's a high chance that if you do your work as expected, like you work as if as like with your also, right, more or less, and you do all the tasks that has been assigned to you, you perform your work function correctly, there's a huge chance that you will get a return offer while you're doing an internship. Your whole goal should be getting a return offer. And that's not the time to slack, to come late for work, or to do things that you're not supposed to do. Like you do your task, you learn, like you spend time learning. Like internship is supposed to be learning and performing. So you learn, you perform, you do everything you are supposed to do. Right. Yeah. So that's what I would say. You prove yourself by doing the work they give you and going above and beyond. Right. There's this thing that they say technically, like if you are going to say you are working at a company and you are currently at L4 or like L3, let's say L3 is the lowest level, and you want to move to L4, right? The condition for you to move to L4, which is the next level, is that before they even officially promote you to L4, you should have worked, you should have been working as an L4 on like for a period of time, then that's when they will know that, oh, you can be an L4 and then they promote you. Same for an internship. If you're an intern, you want to work like a new grad, right? So
yeah,
that's when they know, oh, this person is going to function as a, like, if we employ them for a full-time role, right? So let us give them the offer. And I've seen the same thing apply to even Nigerian companies. I have people that I've had inside information about people that work in like some of these fintech companies, right? And they intend them, right? If you don't perform your work as expected, nobody's going to give you a return offer, right? But if you perform your work as expected, then you'll get a return offer. I think it's just as straight as that.
Yeah, so what I want to chip in, like, I've interned 3 times, so like always listen to your manager. Your manager is your your manager is your like savior. He can do and undo. So like, it's a manager that really, like, I think 90% of the time is a manager that will determine if you get an offer or not. So if your manager is happy with you, like,
Okay.
although is the like HR that will give you the offer, but it's the manager that will write the reports, the feedback, everything. Like, sometimes some companies, they will even invite them to a meeting, like, to like talk about you and your work and what you've done. And like you said, he has said most of the things. Like, when you are trying to move to a next level, start working at that level already. So like, I think that's really it.
Okay. Okay. So I think the question was answered already. Let me move on to the next because we are running late on, we are running short of time. So someone is asking, please emphasize about someone with no work experience. How do you craft your personal project in your CV?
Okay, so I can probably take this. So
Yeah, you should take that. Yeah.
if you don't have work experience, if you don't have work experience, so to draft your personal CV, so the first thing is work on like a lot of good projects, like outstanding projects, because that's the only thing you've got. You don't have experience. So how do you stand out? You need really good projects. So like, you need really good projects. So don't work on, like Shreya said, don't go and work on landing page. Everybody and their grandmother can do a landing page. Build
Typically can do land.
like, build something like impactful. Build like maybe a full functional app, like with catching, with like searching, chatting, different kind of stuff that you can think of. Build like stuff that are really technical, and know your technical details. Know that if they ask you question about those technical stuff, you can really like talk about them in depth. Because some of these interviewers, they will try to trick you and ask you some your own project. So like, basically what you wrote on your resume, they will ask you like about it. Then imagine you can't like speak to it, they'll just be like, you are lying. That's how they know that, okay, people are lying on their
Mm.
resume. Like, so yeah.
If you build it, you should be able to talk about it.
Yeah. So for the main thing is basically your project, and another thing. This doesn't really matter a lot. Like, if you have a good CGPA and you are a student, so also like put it on your resume if you're applying for entry level roles like internships or new grad roles. So you have a very good CGPA. I think some companies check that, but it's not really relevant for like maybe companies like Meta or Google. But I know some companies that checks that as well. So that else, like, basically, without experience, it comes down to schoolwork and your project.
Personal.
So yeah, you can even put your school experience, like your COS. If you did COS in school, put it there. Like, as long as you did something meaningful, like put it in your experience section, and they will be able to, like, okay, it makes sense because it's more like of school related and real experience related.
Mm. Yeah, I think
I'll
you
just
just
narrate the video. So
Yeah, you lost your video.
yeah. I intentionally turned it off. But yeah, I would say go and watch my resume video.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wanted to get my work laptop, so that was why I turned the video off.
Okay. So let me move on to the next. Someone is asking, is MLH for students? I can't confirm, but I don't think it is. So you can just
It's
check
not only for students; it's for everybody.
everybody. So like you can go ahead and apply. Someone is asking, how do you know you're ready for work life after building a lot of projects?
See,
Hmm.
like, not just a lot of projects, like meaningful
Quality.
and impactful projects, like quality
Exactly.
projects. It's not about
Even if just
quantities.
three, yeah.
Yeah, it could be just two, it could be just three. On my
Exactly.
resume, I only have two projects that I put there.
Hmm.
Like, just make sure those two projects, they are like solid projects.
Hmm.
There was one is about like that has a lot of features and all those kind of stuff. I spoke about that earlier. Then the other one is even quite simple, but it's just a sitemap generator. Like, and it's basically because it uses like algorithm like depth first search and all those kind of stuff. So it's something I could talk about in depth and okay, tell them
Mm.
okay, I know this thing, all that. So just it's mostly about quality, not about quantity, in my
About
opinion.
quantity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but if you don't have any experience, you can maybe three should be enough, three maximum of four. But I recommend just putting three and make sure like they are very good and you have COS experience like related to that course you are studying or related to tech, then put it. That should also help.
I
Nice.
would also say that when writing resume with not a lot of experience, how you craft your story is very like how you craft your story. That's another talk entirely. But how you craft your story is very important. How you explain the project you've worked on, how you sort of like present it matters.
Mm.
But yeah, like it's about quality, not quantity. Like there are a lot of people that have like 1,000 exaggerating, but 1,000 landing page in their portfolio is birds of the same feather, right? But work on a project, say, if you are, because I'm more used to like software engineering, I would say if you are working on a software engineering project, let it have authentication and authorization. Let it have basic CRUD, right? Basic CRUD is like the most fundamental thing that you can do, right? And even if you're a front-end engineer and you are not a back-end engineer, there are free services like say Firebase or Superbase that you can use, right? That allows you to, and they are also headless CMS. That way, you don't have to write the backend code. You just use those tools. They give you APIs, right? Because if you're a front end engineer, one of the things that they are looking for is can you integrate well with an API? Can you work with an API? Implement applications that use complex state management library, like you use Redux, use even maybe even React reducers and stuff like that, right? So not just landing page and you think you have arrived, like you've not done anything. So that's what I would say.
Quality.
Quality over quantity. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think yes, you have spoken more about like if you are into web. So if you maybe if you are not really into web or if it's just backend, so for backend you want to focus on like CRUD is like the base level. So and even like they assume that you basically know that already. So you want to do
Exactly.
like interesting stuff. Like what are the interesting stuff you can do in backend? Like catching. Like you want to
Yeah.
do stuff like interesting stuff like catching. You want to do stuff like maybe like concurrency, like
WebSocket.
yeah, WebSockets. You want to do something just like out of the box or out of the norm, something a bit more like, let's say higher level. You want to do stuff with maybe graphs, like different kind of stuff you can do actually. So it's about the quality and not the quantity. And if you are into like maybe if you're into like system engineering, I don't know much people. Most Nigerians I know they are mostly into like web and stuff. But if you're into like low level stuff, you want to do stuff. You want to do stuff like operating system stuff. Maybe implement a simple scheduler and all this kind of stuff. They're really
Yeah.
interesting. So like they
Mm.
kind of make you stand out.
I mean, you can use ChatGPT to generate complex project ideas and to even like break it down on the things that you need to do. So if you want to generate project ideas, and you can even just search on Google anyway. So you
Yeah.
find project ideas to do that you can do.
Okay, nice. So I think you talked about this already. How do you draft your personal projects as a replacement? I think you touched on that
Yeah, I
already.
would just say watch my resume video for that. I think I touched on
Okay.
that on my YouTube.
Can you share your the link to your
Oh yeah.
YouTube? And
Oh,
I'll
okay.
put that on the screen. Okay.
Okay.
So someone is asking, can I apply all this as a product designer? What do
Yes,
you
I
guys
mean
have?
you can. Yeah, so yeah, somebody accused me when I released my, I think my resume video or something about not talking about product designers. I would say for a product designer, right? If you are working on projects, don't just work on. So number one for product design, know what the design standard are in the industry. A lot of people think it's about color, just making. You probably already know that, Matthew, right? But I would say that don't. It's not about color. If you go to Google, it's not color. Do you get, like, it's not just you are not trying to build a crypto site. I should just say that. I think everybody has an idea of what a crypto page looks like. It's usually just all these fancy things going on, the animations and all this. It's not about that. It's about building a complex. Number one, have a design system, right? First, you have a design system, then you build a UI based on the design system. You want to write a user story, right? I hope I'm saying all those things right. But you want to have a thought pattern to all those things, because that's exactly what you do when you start working in the company. One thing I should also say that I've learned since I started working at Asana, that you need to take note uh, as important as a product designer, is accessibility. You also need to think about accessibility. I have an accessibility doc, right? So it's just, you should probably, if you don't know what that is, you should probably can find out what that is. I have an accessibility doc, right? So all of those things, and make you like stand out, right? So you want to look at things that will make you stand out as a product designer. Accessibility, thinking about some things that other people wouldn't think about, right? So that's what I would say.
Nice, nice. So I think you did justice to that already. Let's move on to at what level do you advise someone to pursue an internship role?
So I can talk about this.
Yeah,
So
you should.
as long as you get to like, I think from 200 level, 100 level, my focus on GP, build your GP on 100 level.
Exactly.
Like
Mhm.
if you can get 5.0, get 5.0 on 100 level. Like that's the best time you can build your GP. So like from maybe 200 level, 200 level of course, you can like focus on like having internships. So maybe by the time you graduate, you have like maybe two, three internships, and like if you have that kind of internship, by the time you are graduating, you most likely have like a full time return offer already,
Yeah,
and just like start working full time. So like when you are ready, there's really no like level to internship. Internship is like the beginning, like you get, it's like the beginning. So just make sure you know the basics. Like as long as you are very fluent in the basics. Like another thing I've seen, like most people don't want to focus on the basics. I've seen people that they were just learning JavaScript when they are learning React. No, you don't do that. Like try to learn like the basics first. For example, you don't know JavaScript, you are learning React, you are not going to be very good at React. Like you need some knowledge of that basics. So for example, you don't know data structures, you are grinding it code, you are just going to be struggling with it. So there
Yeah,
are
it's
like there
going
are
to be
levels to
harder
things.
than usual.
Yeah, yeah, just like focus on the basics. For example, like yeah, if you want to learn a programming language, be good at that programming language. Then before saying you want to learn a framework in that programming language, if you want to like get good at interview, like learn data structures, learn different kind of algorithms. Then before you start solving other questions, then those kind of stuff will help you. Like if you are a backend person, try to understand how authentication, authorization, how they work before you actually start implementing them. Like different kind of stuff, like read documentation, read textbooks, a lot of resources. Like my emphasis is just basically on the basics. As long as you are strong on the basics, trust me, you don't really even, because when you get to like in big tech, like all these frameworks, and they don't really matter. You have to probably learn what they use.
yeah,
Most of them have their own framework, they have their own library, they
exactly.
have their own
Yeah,
tools, they have their own UI library, everything. So it's kind of, you just have to learn what they use. But if your basics is like very strong, you will not struggle learning what they use because you are like very good with basics. It's just like okay, you can easily grab it since like it's from basics, everything built up.
Okay. Okay. So I think we can move faster. This next person is talking about MLH. For MLH, I'll just recommend you reach out to me. I can
hmm
give you like loads of details on how I got into MLH. Question two: can you list companies that don't give DSA questions for their entry level roles?
Uh,
probably
I
not big tech companies.
Yeah, and
That's
there's
what
no
I
big
would
tech
say.
company.
There's
Yeah,
no big
probably
tech
not.
company that doesn't
Yeah.
do DSA. So if you want companies that don't do DSA, you probably be talking about startups, mostly startups, really. Even mid-sized companies do DSA. So
Like as long as the big tech, there's no escaping
you
it
can't escape
because
DSA.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's just the stand. And another, and like there are basically two reasons for that. First, it's a very good filter. Like it helps you filter a lot of candidates very fast. Like
Mm.
it helps company filter, and that's what they want. Because imagine companies like Google now, they have like maybe 1 million applications, and they just give people OA. So like it's very, they can filter a
exactly.
lot
They
of
give
people.
people
If
a
you can just give you OA, filter a lot of people. So it's very efficient. Then before they interview people, and another thing is that if you are really strong in DSA, the way you code is you can't like there's for if you are writing stuff like two for loops, you'll be thinking, why am I doing this? Like like the way you write program, you
exactly.
tend to write more efficient program. The way you, even if you are designing like a system, you tend to design like like more efficient system, because you are thinking that okay, maybe this thing is going to take like n square time. Then you are trying to think of maybe how you can use more space and save it in and turn it to maybe linear time or even log n time. So if you know all those patterns, you tend to like do stuff fast. Like for example, now you are trying to, just a simple example is like someone that didn't have any experience in DSC, they will just like call some function in a language, like maybe in JavaScript, just like you can, let's say in a sorted array, you just call dot find, like that would take linear time. But someone that's like really good, they will, okay, I can do this more efficient. You can maybe do binary search on it. So those kind of little optimizations, and they 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 help a lot in the sense that, for example, a company with millions of records, like like how they scale very fast. So the kind of code you write, they matter in that sense. When the data set is very big or they need to scale to a lot of people. So that's why these companies, that's why they emphasize on like efficiency in their interviews, because they need to write efficient code.
Hmm. So I think I Mike has said everything, because like there are things that you just take for granted.
Yeah.
Things like you looping 2 times, or instead of like finding a way where you can do it more efficiently, or like or you're using a less efficient data
Yeah.
structure. Yeah, like
Yeah,
once you get the
yeah,
fundamental.
I can give like a lot of examples. There was, especially when it comes to like graphs problem, like there are some crazily efficient algorithms that you just like really like
Hmm,
wow, like then why am I doing like this? Yeah, exactly. Like
yeah,
yeah,
it
and what I've experienced in a real world scenario, most of the things are really like graphs, like most of the time.
mm, every more things can be very well modeled as
Yeah,
graphs.
yeah, I can easily model it as a graph.
Mm, nice. So I don't have any more questions, and I want to wrap up. So, and I feel like you guys have hit every nail on the head, and I want to say I want to give a big thank you to you guys, because once I messaged Israel, I think and Israel we haven't had, and even I Mike, we haven't had a conversation before. So I was just like, okay, let me just throw this message at Israel. If he picks it up, if he's interested, then I'll go to iMike and I'll tell iMike that Israel has already said yes. So maybe
Wow.
iMike.
You are using me to
So,
man.
like I want to just give you guys like a huge thumbs up, because you guys agreed to do this with me, and you guys have done justice to most questions. Um, the resources you provided, I would make sure to share with everyone on the AWS group, and I want if you have feedbacks regarding this event, make sure to scan this QR code and place them there to make the next event better, or to even suggest topics that you like to see. Yeah, so this is where I call it a wrap, and I want to say, if you guys enjoyed the event, just put a fire emoji in the chat, and I would have visual feedback that you guys actually enjoyed the event. So, Israel, thank you again. Hi, Mike. Thank you once again. So we call it a wrap here, and thank you everyone for joining. If you have any other questions we didn't answer, send them to me or put them on the AWS Cloud Club group, and I'll do well to route your questions to them. Thank you. We end it here. Have a good night rest.
All right. Bye. Well, more like
Right.
have a
Yeah.
good morning. I just started
Yeah.
work.
Maybe if you have more questions, you can like reach out to me in person, like maybe on
Yeah.
Twitter or like LinkedIn, any platform.
Mhm. Nice.
Yeah.
And Israel, I and I, Mike, won't forgive you for shading us, because our light kept switching off.
I don't get lights now. Shay, it's not my fault now.
Well, in the trenches we get.
I understand the situation of things. I was once here, but God has protected me.
So, take care, guys.
All
Yeah.
right.
All right.
Great
Bye.
talking. See ya.